Right, everyone happy with that? Right, let's start building some shapes then, shall we? Right, so far we've done those 2 points, those two buttons there. We've looked at these two here. The O1 will make it so that you can put a point on with a little more fine detail, and it will snap at 0.1 along the distance, so it's just a little bit finer detail. Right, these three up here are your type of page. Okay, that one is a statistics page, as you can see when you hover above them. 2D graph page is what we're on at the moment, and 3D graph page is what we'll do in session 3. So what I want is another 2D graph page. Okay, and as you can see there, we've not got the whiteboard mode on again, so we'll just pop that on again. Autograph keyboard immediately pops up because we asked it to in the preferences. I tend to just put it down the corner and get it out of the way most of the time before I'm using it. Right, so let's build something. Let's build a triangle, or let's build a square, or any type of shape. So I'm in advanced. I'm going to build myself a square, and I think I'll put it so that it's snapping to the axes, so it's a nice square and it's going to work really well. So I'm going to put 4 points on so I can make myself a square. So I'll have one there, I'll have one there, I'll have one there, and I'll have one there. Well, that's not a square, is it? That's a rectangle. And that's purely because when autograph loads up, it's not on equal aspect. It's just showing you that particular axis. It defaults to -6 to 6, -4 to 4. So it'd be much nicer if those 4 points were actually in a square. So this one up here, equal aspect mode, if you click on that, it brings everything so it's a nice little square. So now my 4 points are actually in a square.
So which was equal aspect?
It was this one up here, see, the 1 to 1.
Thank you.
Okay? And you need equal aspect. If you're going to draw things like circles, you need equal aspects, because if you don't have it in equal aspect, you'll get an ellipse. You get a squash circle, and that's not terribly good. Or it won't be later on when I try and show you some loci work. Okay? So we've got it on equal aspect. Right. Another useful feature to know about. At the moment, that particular point I've got is highlighted. That one's selected. That one's got a square around it. That says it's selected. If I go back to select mode and I click anywhere at all, they all become unselected. So if I was to select this one up here, it gets a square around it. It's been selected. I can now do something with it. But let's say I didn't really want that one selected. I wanted this one over here selected. I could just click anywhere on the axes. As long as it's away from an object, it deselects everything on the screen, and I get back to the original position I'm in. Okay? So if I wanted that one, I could click off it. That one, I could click off it. Okay? Right, so I want to make the sides of my square now. So I'm going to select the top two. So I'm going to select that one. And then I'm going to come along, and because I had the no shift on, I can just click on the other one and I get 2 selected. If I hadn't got the no shift for multiple select on, as soon as I tried to select the second object, the first one would switch off, which is terribly irritating if you're trying to do it in a lesson, but that's why we have it on there. So I've got 2 points selected. Now, there's lots of ways you can do this now. I want to draw a line between those 2 points. Now, the object part of the toolbar, if you just touch that one, you'll get everything that you can do with 2 points, and a few more down here. Okay? That object menu will only give you things that you can do with things that you have selected on screen. So that's everything you can do with 2 points. If we only select 1 point, so again we just click somewhere away from the screen to deselect everything. If we just have 1 selected, if I then go to the object again, notice I've got a much smaller set of things I can do with 1 point. I can draw a circle around it, I can put a horizontal line on, I can put a vertical line on. So that was 1 point. That's a much smaller list. If I have 2 coordinates selected, I can have a much, much longer list. Okay? So that's something to remember when you're actually trying to select things on screen. If you've got a menu up and you think, oh, that's not what I wanted, and I saw that on a different menu last time, and last time I did this, I got a different menu, and so on, it's probably because of what you've actually got selected on screen. So if you're in any doubt, just deselect everything and start again. Okay? Right, so let's draw a line. So we'll have the top 2 selected there. I'm going to go for object, and I want to draw a line segment between them. So if you click on line segment, there you go. Okay? Now you might want to rush and perhaps draw another one in there, but if you just select the next one, remember, because we've got no shift on, I've now got 3 points selected. And if I try and draw a line segment between that lot, it's not going to work. So again, remember to switch it all off, deselect everything, select, select, and bring up the object menu. Now I did that without going through there. Okay? The way you can do it without having to go through the object menu every time is to right click. So once you've got the things selected, 1, 2, right click, it'll bring up the object menu, which is a little bit quicker if you're messing around with, if you're doing it with the mouse. So another line segment in there, deselect everything, select, select, another line segment, select, select, and another line segment. So there we go, I've got my nice little square going on there. Okay. If I suddenly decide, actually I really don't like this square, I want to make it into a rectangle, much prefer to have a rectangle. These 4 points were my sort of base foundation. Anything I do, they were the first things I laid when I built this particular screen. So the very first objects you place on, you're allowed to move. And the whole structure will move around it. It's like putting some bricks down in a house. And if you possibly could, get hold of that base brick and you could move it. So let's say I want to make it into a rectangle. I could select a point to move, and I can drag it across to there, or wherever you want to move it to. So I've now got a trapezium, but I could grab hold of this point down here and, whoops, grab hold of that and again drag it across to wherever I wanted to move it. I can't grab a line and move that, because that was dependent entirely on these 2 points that I put on first. I can only move things that I built from. You can't move things that were dependent on things you built from. Okay? So there you go, that's a nice little rectangle drawn there for you.